And welcome back, folks, to another lesson in web design. Today we are going to continue to do things to increase what we can do in a web page. What we're going to be working with today are tables, which are often great for presenting information. So to make a table, I'm going to start off by using the table tag. And you can see that if I hit enter, it automatically indents over my cursor for me, which is great for helping me visually looking at the different things. Now, each time I want to make a different row inside of a table, whether it's for a header or if it's for another row, anything. But any row should always be inside of a row, which is done with a TR tag. Now, there's no like TC tag that we don't do anything for columns. It's all controlled via rows. And to make the columns, so to speak, I'm going to add in either a TH or TD tag. And you only ever have to put TH in there once. TH is your table header. So that's like if you have something, for example, like name or age, maybe you have something like grade, that is going to be your table header here. So let's just use name. And I'm going to make another table header. I'm going to make the age. So I have name and I have age, and those are my two table headers. Then I want to go ahead and make a couple people who fall into those categories. So let's go ahead and do another table row. And now instead of TH, I'm going to use TD, which is the table data. These are the actual values that belong to each one. So the first one is always going to correspond to whatever the first header is. If the first header is name, that means my first TD in each of these entries should always be the person names. So my first person is going to be Jill. And then I'm going to make Jill's age to be, let's say, 29. And then I want to do another person, just so I got a couple more values in here. Let me just do one for, say, John. And I'm going to make John 34. And you can see I have a very basic table in here. Right? And you can see kind of how there are rows and there's columns in here all lined up. Now, this is a very basic table. And the only issue with it is that it's kind of blends into our web page. If we wanted to make that stand out a little bit, we can apply two different HTML properties here. And where we do that is right here next to our table tag. We're going to come in here and we're going to add in something. So there's a bunch of other ones we can do, but we're going to just look at just two here today, just to kind of get us started with some of the different things we can do. And the first thing we're going to start with is a border. So I'm going to do table border. And if I just write border, and then you can see it does it, but I can also define a border value. So I'm going to put equals, and then in quotes, I'm going to put the value of 1, which is what it is by default. So if I do table border equals 1 or just table border, it's in there. And you can see it helps add some depth to that table, so it's not just like a bunch of text on the screen. I can also add in a style. In this case, you can see I have several styles if I do that. But I'm going to use for this one width. And width you can set to either auto, or you can make it a set percentage, or even set pixels. I'm going to do a percentage here. I'm going to do 50%. And you can see now it takes up 50%. And it's always good to try and do percents when you're working with this, simply because it helps when you have different viewing size screens. If you set it to a certain pixels, people are going to have to scroll left or right. Whereas if you use a percentage, it automatically scales it to the size of your screen. So if I were to come in here and just, like, let's say, just resize the screen here a little bit, you can see that it keeps those values roughly about 50% of what they were before. Let me just move that back over close. All right. And of course, these values can change. You can either change this, like, itself. Let's say 1, I want to make it, let's say 3. You can see it changes the value there. If I want to make it, let's say 10, you can see it just increases that border thickness. If I want to change the width from 50% to maybe, let's say, 75%, it will increase it to 75%. If I don't have a predefined value, it's going to simply make it as small as possible without, cutting off any of the information. Now, just to talk about border and the style here with the width amount, those are only done inside of the table tag. And you'll notice that I did not do anything with TR or TH or TD. Those properties are instead inherited from the table tag. Because remember how I said Dreamweaver is kind of tabbing this all over for me. So whenever it gets tabbed over like this, any of the properties that were applied above get passed down. So this TR, THD all right now have technically a border of 1 inch and a style with width is 50%. Of course, I already mentioned width refers to how much of the web page, the width of it, the table is going to take up. And of course, the border sets the thickness of the table value. And that about concludes everything for today, folks. Until next time.